Not even close. Bro, we're 1 win. We're 4 LP away from Challenger. Like, that's the performance you want to see from your soon-to-be Challenger top laner. Yeah, I cancel auto attack too. Gene dies bot, pings on my way to top. Yeah, cool. Bro, she picks Sona and he's like, nah, I don't wanna play. Oh, you picked Sona, I'm gonna... Oh, Elise is so tilted. How do you win League of Legends games? Like, I need tips. I need help here. I need help. Like, any tips for how to win League of Legends games? 2 of my last 3 games, I've had people like this. Why is Raven top lane? I don't know. It's 3 games now. Okay, cool. We're way too weak to deal with it. We got the fucking donkey AFK in the base. Like, if you AFK like that, how is that not instantly perma suspension right there? Back to back to back to back to back AIDS games. Let's move on. Yeah, well, since it's the end of the season, everyone is trying to get the rank, they're failing, they're getting tilted, running people down, and solo queue is just not a fun place at the end of the season. So I figured I'll make a little tier list instead. I'll begin with ranking the Garen's easiest matchups and then move my way up to the hardest ones. Also, I forgot to mention that this is my tier list. I'm not making it for a low elo. So if you have any like comments or you're like, this shouldn't be here, that shouldn't be there, bro, feel free to like comment down below where you think the champion should be, and we'll have a little chat down below. Also, there will be timestamps, so if you wanna skip ahead, like, I'm completely fine with that. Just know that if you skip to the end and you see like Mordekaiser placed somewhere and you're like, what the fuck, this guy is stupid, Mordekaiser should be over here instead, then skip to the timestamp where I talk about Mordekaiser or the specific champion, and I'll probably explain myself, and you'll understand why I placed the champion where I did. Okay, without further ado, let's just begin with the easiest champion of all time, Briar. You can't lose to Briar. She jumps in, kills herself, and you kinda just win for free. Like, there's not much to say about Briar. If she jumps on you, like, you can reduce the stun, you can reduce all her damage, and if you use like spin with W active, you auto-win even with her W active. So her entire kit just kinda loses to your auto-W, and then if she's trying to heal while at low HP, you like combo her with like Q and ult and she's nice. That's super simple. Now for the second champion, Gragas. I know, it's a controversial pick, but I like to put him down here in a free lane. There are 2 different runes you can go, either Grasp or Face Rush. I think if you go Face Rush, it's slightly harder in lane, but it's scaling better than Grasp does. But if you go Grasp, like, you can't lose the lane. If you go Grasp and he has Face Rush, you Q him with Qmax, Grasp, and like Trinity Force. That's like a third of his HP, while he can't do anything. Like, he can't, like, yeah, there's nothing he can do. If he has Face Rush, he kinda scales well, but so do you, and you kinda outscale him if you have the Face Rush rune. And also you should be able to put him far enough behind with the Grasp rune page, so he should never be able to really do anything versus you. Now, moving up a tier, I want to talk about 2 champions at once. Singed and Rammus. They are both kinda identical, none of them really lane versus you. Singed is just gonna proxy, Rammus is also just gonna proxy, you don't really face them, but out of the 2, Singed is slightly more annoying, since he can build Ryze and he can kinda kill you. Also, he's more annoying in team fights. So out of the 2, Singed is the more annoying proxy error. But they're kinda just the same. Free lane. Since they proxy, you can't really get plates, but try to proxy, take jungle camps or roam. Moving on to our next champion here, Malphite. I think he's super simple. Farming lane. Like, he's too tanky, he shouldn't be able to die, but also he has no damage, so he can't kill you. You're fine going Demolish in this matchup, Because a lot of the time, you can just walk up, take plates in his face. You can just proxy, take jungle camps, you can roam, you can do whatever you want versus Malphite, he can't stop you. Kinda a simple matchup. The same goes for Galio. He's not doing a whole lot. He can wave clear better than Malphite can, so it might be like rough or hard to take plates, but he has way less HP. Like every time you trade with Malphite, he got the shield, but this guy doesn't have the shield, and he got no sustain. So every trade you do versus Galio, he just dies. Or not dies, but he gets super low, and you can easily push him out of lane. And I'm Poppy here. I think Poppy is super simple. Again, it's a farming lane. You kinda just don't take damage from her. If she's walking up to lane, she wants to farm. Like, there's two ways she can poke you. She can poke you either with Q or with her passive. Her passive automatically disappears if she has to farm. So she can only poke you with one spell. But if she wants to farm multiple minions or just in different ways, she has to use both spells, like both the passive and the Q, so she can't poke you. Even if she does poke you with like just the passive, you have your W and her passive doesn't deal that much damage. So you can just walk all over her, she does no damage. Whenever you fight her, make sure that you either pick up her shield, so she doesn't get the shield herself, or you just don't fight her after she picked it up. Also, every time you go for a minion, try to walk up to the minion and then sidestep, like either way or walk back, baiting out her Q, and then you take the minion. Moving on to the first range top laner of the list here, we have Ryze. I think this champion deals very little damage. Like, he can lock you down, but it's pretty easy to time his CC with your W, because he first has to use E to prepare the CC, so he E's you and then W's you. That gives you quite a bit of time to react with your W. Most of the time he goes face rush, so he will do his like little Q, E, W, Q, run away, stun you, whatever. That will proc face rush. Then when it's on cooldown, you can try to just sneak behind him or sneak anywhere, go on him, and he has 0 ways to really protect himself. I think Ryze is super simple to deal with. He can't really do much. If he's insanely good, he will go even. But that's like if he's, I don't know, really good. If his space is really good, he will go even in CS. Because there's no way you should die to him or lose CS. And then we have Maokai, the little tree here. There's not too much to say about Maokai. His sustain is kinda good, but if you combo him once, let's say he has 100% HP, you combo him, he goes down to like 70%. In the combo and before your next combo, he's gonna heal up to like 80-90%. So he's gonna heal up a big chunk of that. But if you continuously trade with him, you will continuously also push down his health bar very low. Before he gets his full item, which is either Fimbulwinter or Unending Despair, you can kill him. Like, out of the 3 or 4 games I've played versus Maokai, this like just last week, I've always killed him at or before level 6. So he's kind of weak there. He can't really kill you, he has no damage. Most of the time you shouldn't be able to kill him, because that's why he's in this tier. Like, so try to get plates or proxy, jungle camps or roam. A bit harder to get plates versus him, but you can definitely proxy, take jungle camps or roam versus him. And now Sejuani. I think Sejuani is kind of basically the same. She's just a big wall. You can't kill her, she can't kill you. Make sure that you get 10 CS per minute. Make sure that you can proxy if that's needed. Like proxy to get tempo, better reset. Or take jungle camps to get even more CS. Like, let's say you proxy one wave, then you walk back. Either take like the chickens, you take the Skarner crab, you take the Krugs or something. So you like try to gain some extra gold, because you most of the time can't kill her. And then we have kind of odd pick here, Rek'Sai. I haven't seen Rek'Sai top in a while, but when I did, it wasn't that good. There was a thing with tank Rek'Sai. It was good for like a week, and then after that it was nerfed. So now it's kind of like, okay, it's kind of free lane. You can actually maybe kill her, But you can definitely proxy. There's no way she can kill you. You can take camps, you can do everything you want. She can't stop you. And then we have Ornn. I think Ornn is slightly tricky. Still only farming. You're not really supposed to die. You fuck up and die. He can also die if he fucks up. But mostly still just a farming lane here. Level 1 to 3, I think he's slightly stronger if he gets his brittle, because his Q and W and like technically E are wave clear spells. So if you don't start E and he starts like auto, if you want to auto Q when he auto Qs, he's gonna push the wave faster because his Q is AoE, and if he gets able to get push level 1, he get level 2 first. And if he gets level 2 first, then he's also going to get level 3 first, and he's going to get Briar, and you're not going to really be able to punish his early game. He also takes Grasp most of the time, and Grasp is really strong for the early game, so you kinda can't bully him with Phase Rush, but if you take Grasp or Conqueror yourself, you can bully him, and with Conqueror I really recommend starting E. You can kinda run all over him. But after the first back, it's gonna be really hard to kill him. He has no sustain in his kit, so what you can do is like go for multiple short trades. Every time you have your W up, you just go for a short little trade, like 300 HP or something, and then you back off. If you go for longer trades than that, he's gonna get multiple grasp procs off, and trading like auto attacks is not the best. Unless it's in your wave, of course. And if you don't kill him early, then you're basically never gonna be able to kill him. He's gonna do his thing in team fights, and you're gonna do your thing in team fights. As I said, this kind of like a wall. You can't kill him. So if you don't successfully kill him early game, before or at level 6, I suggest just try to get plates, proxy, get jungle camps or roam, or do any of that. And then we have Zac, the Snot Blob. He's kinda similar to Ornn, where you have a chance to kill him at or before level 6, but after that, he can scale to get Unending Despair. It's gonna be really hard to kill him. His blobs heal him from missing health only, so if he's super low HP and your ult didn't finish him off, if he starts picking up a few blobs, he's back to half HP and you can't kill him. Anti-heal is really good. But most importantly, you need your ultimate to finish him off. And also, if he's going like full tank, it's really hard to kill his passive blobs without using like spells. So let's say you used E to get him like to half HP, and then auto Q to a third, and then ult him. And then he's like impassive. But then you don't have your E for his passive. Then he's probably most likely gonna... then he's most likely just gonna reform into... Then he's most likely just gonna revive again. So you can only like really kill him and his passive blobs without E if you're either in your wave, have teammates, or it's before he got items, before he is really tanky. And then we have Skarner. Skarner can really only do one thing, and that is to kidnap you into his turret. If he can't kidnap you with his E or ultimate into your turret, the champion doesn't do too much. His shield and his Q is some kind of like poke, but mostly you shouldn't die to him and he shouldn't die to you. It should just be a farming lane. It's slightly more risky to proxy and take jungle camps versus him, because it's so easy for him to just follow you through some wall, then pin you against another wall, and then their jungler comes. It's kind of awkward. So you have to proxy and take jungle camps with caution when you play versus this guy. But yeah, just watch out for his ult and you should be fine. Ult and E. And then for the final champion of the farming category. A lot of people think that Sion is weak early and then scales to late game. But I kind of think that he's pretty strong early, pretty strong mid, and pretty strong late. He's pretty strong at all times, and it's hard for Garen to really kill him. You can't really die to him, and you can't kill him. Unless it's the boss and he goes full AD Sion. He sits with like a charged Q from a bush when you're already half HP or something. Then you can die to him. Otherwise, you should be kind of safe. Mid to late game, he's gonna be super tanky. You can't kill him on your own. You're just gonna be wasting your time. So instead of focusing on killing him, you should be trying to get the wave and then rotate. If he rotates to a team fight, ping your team off. You can just sit and continue split pushing. Or if he tries to split push, go take the wave. Proxy take the next wave behind him. He's stuck here trying to split push, do nothing while you rotate. So just play away from Sion. And your goal is not to kill the Sion in late game team fights as Garen. That should be like your ADC or some other champion. Leave him for someone else. And then we have Nasus. The first champion in should bully them, otherwise you lose. Kinda self-explanatory. If you don't shut down Nasus early, he's gonna scale into a monster and probably take over the game single-handedly. So the way you bully Nasus is that you don't hit the minions on the first wave more than like once or twice. When he walks up to queue a minion, you auto-queue him and then don't touch the wave. Make sure that you slow push the first 3 waves, or the first 2 waves and then crash the third. Whenever he goes to last hit a minion, always punish with auto-queue. If he's not inside the minion wave, you can also use E on him. So if he's like on the edge of the wave trying to last hit your minions, you can auto-queue E him, follow him for a bit, and then just leave. But you don't want to E the wave before the third wave arrives, because if it crashes too soon, you won't be able to bully him on the bounce. But your plan is to crash the third and then hold the fourth in the bush, making sure that it's bouncing back to you. If you did your job correctly, Nasus will be kinda low HP from your early trading. It's gonna be hard for him to play out the bounce. You can stop him from farming with Q, because you like walk up. Every time he goes to farm, you walk up, threaten auto Q or E or just a normal combo. He has to walk back, so he's forced to farm with just E all the time. Then he gets no stacks, and then he kinda doesn't scale. Also, he doesn't have infinite mana, so you can't E all the time. So you kinda just suffocate him after the 4th wave. And after that, you should be like slowly just expanding your lead all the time. So if he gains gold in like this speed, you should be gaining gold in like that speed. You're getting richer way faster than him, and like before you know it, you're already outscaling him and he can't do anything. But however, if you do fall behind early, let's say you get ganked or something and you mess up, yeah, you're not gonna have fun. He's gonna blast you. He will be insanely strong in the 1v1 because he will get a lot of stacks, and then you better pray that your team comp is good versus Nasus. You need a lot of range champions with max HP damage or a fat amount of CC. Let's say you have Cillian. You press W, or Cillian press E on him, and he can't move. And then he presses Q, and then he auto-refreshes with W, and then Q again, and then E. Nasus can't move at all. If you play with Ashe in your team, Nasus can't play. Like, there are so many champions that just counter Nasus, make him unable to move and be useful in team fights. So even if you somehow fuck up early game, you're still not cooked completely if your team comp is good for it. And then we have Mundo. He's super weak early game, or like his stats are kind of weak, but his Q is really strong. It doesn't have that long cooldown, and it deals a lot of damage. It deals current health damage, which means the more HP you have, the more damage the Q will deal. So if you're sitting there with full HP, trying to stop him from queuing your minions, so let's say you stand, like there's a minion here, he's here, and you stand here to try and block his cleavers from hitting the minions, you're you're gonna take a lot of damage. And you can't keep that up for long. His Q doesn't have that long cooldown, so you can kind of Q every minion. So you can't really bully him that hard. So like either he gets free CS or he's hitting every Q on you. Both are kinda bad because you wanna bully him early. The only really good way of fixing it is kinda same as Nasus. You crash the third wave and then make him play out the bounce. If it's bouncing, that means his minions are killing your minions pretty fast because he has a bigger wave, and then he can't queue all the minions. He's gonna wanna walk up to like auto-E some minions or something, and that's when you try to bully him. But if you don't bully him, then he's gonna scale into a monster at level 16. You can't kill him. If he buys randomins and he ults level 16, you can have like 3 people. Like you can have Akshan, Caitlyn and Garen all attacking Mundo. If he's level 16 with randomins, like 3 crit champions versus that is so pointless. He will just heal to full HP and he will kill you all. So he scales like a demon. You kinda have to bully him early, but that's also pretty hard. The only really good way is to make the wave bounce and kill him on the bounce. And then we have Gangplank. He's the champion that gains the most gold in the entire game. If he Qs a minion or hits a barrel with his Q that then kills minions, he gains so much more extra gold than you do or any other champion in the game because of his Q passive. And because of this extra gold, he can accelerate and scale like absolutely crazy. So he's weakest in the early game, where he kinda can't do too much versus you. The real only way you lose versus Gangplank is if he starts E level 1 and he first gets his passive on you, gets a barrel, gets his passive on you, gets a barrel and a passive on you. Like, he needs so much to win early game versus you. Or if he starts Q and a mana crystal. Because if he has a mana crystal, he won't really run out of mana that fast, and he can continuously just spam Q on you. And even if you have Doran's Shield, Second Wind, that Q spam is kinda annoying, and it's hard to deal with. You kinda can't do too much about it. He's slowly gonna run out of mana, but not that slowly. Your HP is gonna run out before he's running out of mana, if he got the mana crystal. But always versus Gangplank, try to walk in and out of his Q, or no, not his Q, but his barrel range, to try and like bait him to hit it, and it's a whole mind game there. So if he wastes barrel, that means he's kinda useless. Gangplank without barrels, that's not a champion, he sucks. Then he can't get his passive, he can't get his like insane armor piercing bomb, that is his E, and yeah, he's pretty useless. No speed either, no slow. And then we have Kayle. I think Kayle is the one out of these 4 champions that have the strongest level 1. Like, she's up there with Darius in terms of strength level 1. Her passive, combined with lethal tempo, if she chooses to take lethal tempo, is super strong. If she has Doran's Blade, lethal tempo, and her passive stacked, you can't win. Even if you're standing in a full wave with your E active, like, you just lose. So level 1, if she's in lane, just completely give her all the space she needs. Give her level 2 first, give her the level 3, let her push it into you, and then you can bully her. But if she's not in lane, or if she doesn't have lethal tempo with Doran's Blade, then you can try to get the prio in lane, and you start E to trade with her as well as push the wave for level 2 power spike. But then when she gets level 6, she's now a ranged champion and she's gonna kinda bully you. There's no real good way for you to get to her. Even if you start boots, she can outscale you or she can outspace you, because she can also go boots. She has her passive that gives her speed, she has W that gives her speed, and she has Q that slows you. So it's really hard to catch her until you get Stride Breaker. Or you just get help from your jungler or something. So your only real time to really bully her hard is either she doesn't have tempo and you bully her from level 1 to level 6, or she has tempo and you can bully her from like level 3 to level 6. And then that's when you really have to bully her hard. Like, zone her from CS, try to even zone her from XP if you've already gotten her low. And then you can maybe dive her as well. If you successfully dive her, and then maybe try to stop her from coming back into lane, or just chunk her, like that's a really good way to win the game. And then we now venture into the even matchups, or the skill matchups, where we first have Aatrox. I think Aatrox is very skill dependent. His E and Q combined makes for a lot of fun mini games. If he has his Q, the sweet spot right on you, and you run towards the center or you run inwards to him, he can E backwards, redirect the Q so it now connects on you. So if you run in all the time, he's always just gonna Q and then E backwards. You're never gonna hit him. But if you don't run in towards him, then let's say you run back a bit, he's maybe gonna E forward. And if you turn, and if you then run into him, he's gonna E into you and you're gonna Q into him. And if you're able to ever get melee range versus Aatrox, where he can't hit the sweet spot of his Q, you should be 100% winning, and he kinda can't do anything. Even his sweet spot Q3 shouldn't be a hit, or even if it is, you should have your W for it. So that's when Garen wins, but it is up to Aatrox to kind of fail for you to even get a chance to win. The matchup has so many mind games, and if you have Phase Rush, even if you win like multiple mind games in a row, your damage is going to be lacking a lot, so you kind of can't kill him unless you have Ignite and your ult, or it just like colossally fucks up. But if you have Conqueror, and you have your Ignite and ult with Conqueror, then it's way easier to kill him, but it scales worse in team fights. So either take Conqueror to win lane a bit easier, or take Phase Rush. It's slightly harder to win lane, it's safer, and you're gonna be more useful in late game team fights. I think Aatrox scales better in team fights, but it scales worse 1v1. And then we have another pick. It's not that common, but it's Lee Sin. Maybe he should be in farming lane, because all he does is just farm. You can't really kill him, but he can kill you. He will just go W. He will just go W max, get a lot of spell vamp, and heal a shit ton on the wave. You can't kill him, and you're never gonna really see him, because he clears the wave and then jumps away. But if he stays in the lane, he's gonna clear the wave and then try to clear you as well. Garen can't really do too much about it. Let's say you start your E off, let's say you QE, but in the time where you Q, or like when you're in the air, he jumps away to a minion, then you miss your entire E. After your E is done, he Qs back, does the full combo, and now you just like kind of lost the trade pretty hard. While also he can just heal on the wave. So not only did you lose a trade, he can also heal on the coming wave. It's kind of tricky. I would say it's a skill matchup. It's annoying. You don't have to see it that often. So I don't want to talk too much about Lee Sin here. Okay, Renekton here. I'm not sure if I should put him in skill matchup, because I think it's kind of Renekton favored. He's pretty strong. Early game, he got a spell. Like he can auto Q, and if you start auto Q yourself, his Q has wave clear and also builds Fury. So he will push the wave, getting level 2 first. And also if you try to auto Q again after the first one, he will have Fury on his second auto Q, which means he will deal more damage and also heal more from the Q. So auto Q, he pushes, and auto Q, he heals plus pushes plus deals a lot of damage. You kinda lose Briar early. If you have Conqueror and start E versus his auto Q, you can win, but if he then has bomb plating, it's really hard to first proc bomb plating, walk out, walk back in, then auto E. So if he has bomb plating, you kinda lose. And he can space you. Renekton's Q has slightly longer range, and he can press Q before you can do your damage. So if he's really good at the game, he can not only space you, he can push the wave faster, he can heal more, he can deal more damage. So it's really annoying, but the only reason why it's in the skill matchup, for me at least, is because his sustain kinda sucks. And if you go Grasp, Q max, you go for one big boom, big fat Q on him, he can't do too much to protect himself. His sustain is only good if he's allowed to hit the minions and build up fury. So let's say you push him back to his turret or away from the wave with Q max. Then he won't be able to hit the minions, he won't be able to get the fury on his Q, and then he won't be able to get any sustain. So let's say you go with a big Q here with Grasp, boom, you take equal health, because you have Grasp, Q max deals a lot of damage, even if he combos you, you have your W, whatever. He has to walk back, your Q comes back up, before he's like W and E. Then you can go again on him, so he has to respect, walk all the way back, he can't auto-attack the minions, can't get fury, can't get sustain, and now you just kinda continuously zone him with Grasp. I think Grasp is insanely good. So the way you win is through sustain and making him unable to hit the wave. It is really hard to do with Phase Rush, but Conqueror Grasp can work. Grasp is better for short trades, Conqueror is better for long trades. I do have to say, his ult is insanely broken. Like, his ult is so broken. It gives him 5 billion HP, a storm that deals insane amount of damage, and also gives him fury. So at level 6, unless you can burst him and like one-shot him with your ult and your combo, unless you can do that, he just auto-wins. So don't even like try to take extended trades with him in his ult, that will never work. And then we have illaoi. I think illaoi is slightly annoying, but also fun in a way. She has her E that is pulling out your soul and deals a lot of damage, or like she can deal damage to the spirit and then that deals damage to you. But if you dodge the E and the tentacles, she kinda has nothing. She only has W to really combo you from, or combo you with. I think as long as you walk perpendicular to the Qs, you won't, or to the tentacles, you won't ever get hit by them. And the same is kinda true for the tentacle or the spirit grab, the E. So those two, you can dodge, but her W you can't dodge. And level 1, if she starts W level 1, you kinda just lose. If you try to get prio with, let's say you have auto Q to her auto W, you both deal kinda equal health to each other, but her W has like 4-second cooldown, so she gets it back way faster than you. So if you, let's say you auto Q each other, she stays, hits the minions, you try to also hit the minions, like you don't want to give prio early game. Then she's gonna auto W again, while you can't auto W, or you can't auto Q. So you are forced to back off, give prio early if she starts W. Also she has Grasp, whereas you have Phase Rush. And you kinda can't keep up with her early game stuff if you start Q with Phase Rush versus her W Grasp. If you instead start E, you will have better wave clear, but at the same time, she probably has bomb plating, and she will have stronger, like 1v1 damage than you. The only thing you really gain from having your E is the wave clear. So maybe you can play for that level 2 power spike, and that's something you can do. Otherwise, just give early, and then at level 6 or onwards, the only way you kill her is with ult. Her healing is based on missing HP, so the lower she is, the more she heals from her tentacles. But the lower she is, also the more damage she takes from your ult. So if you're able to dodge her E, spin around her, reduce her armor a bit, and then like auto Q her, then she can't use her tentacles because she's silenced from your Q, and then ult her. So she can't first disappear her, but she can't heal, and you get her lower. Like, it doesn't matter if the illaoi is 5-0 or 0-5. She's gonna do the exact same thing. She's gonna sit in the side lane. She's gonna have her tentacles all around her. She's gonna have her ability to suck out your soul. She's gonna have Iceborne, and she's gonna have her ult. She's gonna spam her like Iceborne W slow field on you all the time. Her tentacles is gonna slam on you. There's no difference in her gameplay if she's 5-0 and 0-5. So even if you do somehow manage to fall behind early and you don't dodge any tentacles, you don't dodge her E, and you don't leave her ultimate, like if you fuck up big time, she's not really gonna be able to carry games unless your team is kinda cuckoo, and they all decide to walk melee range. She ults, they just stay melee range, they all just die. That's like how you lose to illaoi. I don't know, I don't really see the champion that often. But when I do, she's kinda useless. She can't really force anything to happen. You're forced to go into, or not, you're the one that starts the fight. Like, you go into her territory, and that's where she's strong. If you don't want to do that, you can just proxy. Like, it's super simple. She has her tentacles in an area. If you're like, oh shit, I can't fight her, but also, oh, she's split pushing, what will I do? She's gonna get the turret, she has Hullbreaker. Shit, but I have to defend. Just walk behind her, take the wave behind her. She follows you. You're like, oh, bye-bye, psych. I go to the next wave, even further behind her. I play a little bit of Bow's gameplay on her. She's like, ah, shit, I need to get the wave. And then you don't have to deal with her. So even if you fall behind her, sir, there's no way for her to chase you. There's no way for her to catch you when you have face rush, swiftness, and your Q. You're just gonna zoom out of there while she's a snail. And then we have Jax. I think Jax is pretty interesting. It's a fun skill matchup. A lot of people is like, oh, Garen is just auto-winning. Oh, blah. In lower elos, maybe, yeah, Garen is auto-winning. He goes Conqueror. He just goes EW. Jax stands there with his E and autos. And two clowns just hit each other. And Garen just wins. He has better stats with Conqueror, with W, with E. Jax loses. In high elo, however, Grasp Jax is how much more of a thing. Just like goes in, auto, W, oh, Garen starts E, he jumps away. Oh, now Garen has no E. Jax goes back in, he has full prio over the wave. Garen is like, oh, I wanna fight the wave here. Oh, you can't. Jax still has his E up. So if you try to walk up, he's gonna E you, he's gonna take like half your HP because you're disrespecting him. And you can't do anything. So in high elo, a lot of Jax players are avoiding your E with just like jumping away. So you have to play around that, make sure he can't jump away from your E. Yeah, Jax should technically lose. If you get ahead, you're just gonna roll over him for the rest of the game. If he gets ahead, it's kind of tricky, but I don't think he's gonna roll over you. Because you can run away, you can remove or reduce his CC with your W. You should be kind of fine still. The only way you kind of lose is if he gets a really good trade on you, where you like just disrespected him, and then he freezes on you, so you're forced to miss like a wave or two while your passive regen's up, and then you can fight again. But I mean, I have a full little guide on the Jax matchup if you want to check that one out. And then we have Irelia. I think Irelia is also pretty interesting. She got changed a lot, like a month or two ago. And before that, it was super simple to beat her. Like, just go conquer every game. Level 1, you stand past her caster minions. You prevent her from getting any XP. Like, if she tries to walk up to the minions and get XP, boom, you just auto-E her. And you take like half her HP. She's cooked, she can't lane. But now, recently, I've been kind of fading away from Conqueror, because I think Conqueror scales so poorly in team fights, at least in this meta. So I go Face Rush, and if you go Face Rush versus her, it's more of a skill matchup. With Conqueror, I'd say you win. Like with Conqueror, it's maybe a free lane, but with Face Rush, it's a skill matchup. And you can kill her. She kinda can't kill you. Then you have to fuck up really hard. You have your W to reduce her E slow. You have Face Rush, so even if she jumps on you, you can just zoom out of there. And if she jumps on you, jumps on you, then she should be jumping into your turret. You should never be that far up to her side of the lane, where she can jump on you like 3 times and you can't escape with Face Rush. Also, before she gets her Blade of the Ruined King, she doesn't have that good sustain. So every time she goes for like an auto Q, or just Qs on, like zips around on the mini wave, try to just auto dub or auto Q her. Her sustain isn't that good, and she can't really do too much. If she tries to trade with you, just walk out of there. I don't know, the matchup is so simple. Or it's not simple, but I think if she's good enough, so this is where the skill part comes in. This is not like, first part I've been talking about is Garen favored. But the skill part is if she's good enough to kind of avoid you and scale till Blade of the Ruined King. If she gets Blade of the Ruined King and you kind of didn't punish her early, or you didn't really do anything to gain a lead, she's gonna kind of outscale you. She's a bit in this area here. I'd say she's weaker than these in terms of scaling. But at Blade of the Ruined King, she's really annoying. And she can still like zip around everywhere. And now, she's probably gonna like take in your turret or something. And if she's taking your turret, then now she can like dash 3 times and you're no longer safe from your turret. So to recap, with Conqueror, you should bully her. But with Phase Rush, play safe, don't try to... okay, whatever. And then we have Riven. I think she's kinda tricky. If she has Conqueror and does the Q delay, where she stalls out the Q and then basically gets 4 Qs in a really short time, she will hardcore stomp you early. If she then also has Ignite on top of that, she's way stronger than you are level 1. So you have to respect her. First like 3 levels, you kinda can't do anything versus her. And then with your W, you can kinda try to get some small trades here and there. Nothing too much. At level 6, if you don't have your W, or let's say like it's on cooldown or something, and she has all her spells, she can combo you from 100 to 0 and instantly kill you. If you don't have any HP, and you're like, if you haven't bought any additional HP apart from Doran's shield, and you don't have W, those 2 things, like she will one-shot your ass. But at the same time, Garen can also kind of one-shot her. If she uses E in a wonky way, let's say she goes in E out to WQ or some fucking Riven combo, she no longer has E. Riven doesn't usually buy HP. So Garen, with his Ignite, can easily also one-shot her. So it's a super volatile matchup, where whoever kills the other guy first just snowballs like crazy. Like, out of all these champions, I think Riven matchup is the one that snowballs the hardest. Like, you bully her the hardest, and she bullies you the hardest when she gets ahead. There's no other champion here that bullies. That the bully goes both ways. Like Camille, I'm gonna get to her later. But if she gets ahead, she hardcore bullies you. But if you get ahead, you kinda can't bully her that hard. But here you can really bully Riven. Like, she can't really do anything. When you get your Stride Breaker and she's still stuck at like 3 long swords, just like full combo her, she can't run away. You can't, like, I don't know. And if she's ahead, you can't run away. You're like equally fucked. So it's a fun little skill matchup. In the laning phase, if she decides to E every time you go Q, you can go for the strat where you go Grasp and Q max. That hardcore bullies that strat. So every time you walk up, just make sure you hit the minions a bit from time to time so that you have Grasp going. And then when she walks up to you, boom, Q-max, Grasp. And if she E's it, she's still gonna take damage. Because your Q-max plus Grasp, plus maybe Sheen if you have that, is gonna be more damage than her shield can absorb. And she has no sustain at all. So slowly but surely, you're just gonna ship her down. And if she continues for long, you're just gonna like get her in ult range. And she kinda can't play the game. If, however, she's better at the game and doesn't let you Q and on her E all the time, and she just focuses on the farm and whatever, she can scale. And Riven in team fights, she scales slightly harder than Garen, obviously depending on matchup and, or not matchup, but team comp. Like if she is good into your team comp, she will absolutely bully and like one-shot them if she's even with you. So So sometimes even when you go even, it's gonna look like she's way stronger than you. And it's gonna look like she's doing way more than you. So you don't necessarily have to fall behind for her to be strong. But the same is also true the other way around. You can be really strong while also being 0-0, same CS as Riven, but you can also have way more impact if the team comp is better for you than it is for her, if that makes any sense. Now, moving on to the slightly more boring side of Garen here. Here's the vast majority of all the matchups where you lose early, but you outscale them. So going even is winning for Garen. Here, I'm just gonna rapid fire some champions here. These two champions, they do the exact same. He like spits on you, pokes you, doesn't do anything. And then when you get Stridebreaker, you win. This guy has his little machines. He's super annoying. But when you get your Stridebreaker, you outscale him. Like you just go in. Like you can go TP in both these matchups. But if you have Ignite versus Heimerdinger, and you're, let's say you're level 11, you just got your Stridebreaker. He is sitting there trying to take your turrets. He's placing down his own turrets. You walk up to him with Q. Even if he hits his E, you still have W for that. If you just came out of base, full HP with W, if he does his full combo and you do your full combo, you're gonna absolutely one-shot him because you have Ignite, you're level 11, you have your Stridebreaker, and he's not gonna one-shot you because you have your W, and you're gonna kill him fast enough to run away from his turrets. So it's rough before you get your Stridebreaker and can scale, but after that, it should be completely fine. If, however, he does bully you hard enough, where he gets like a fat CS lead, he gets plates, well then yeah, it's cooked. Like, I'm sorry, it's cooked. He's gonna be more useful than you are, because you haven't been able to farm. What you can do then is just walk behind him, try to get the wave, and just make sure that he can't get to the turret, so he can't prevent you from farming, and also he can't get plates. So trying to get behind him is a good way to stall out and play this lane. Also, I should add Kennen, Quinn, and Gnar, and Akshan, and Aurora. These ranged champions, and also Twisted Fate, and Teemo. Yeah, I think that's it. These ranged champions here, all of them, they bully you early. Like, there's nothing you can really do. But if you go even, you are winning. Let's say you can move around, get a wave behind them, make sure that you farm for free, or you just sit with second wind or shield, which is extra good versus Teemo, because he constantly procs second wind or shield, and just farm with E. None of these guys can survive your all-in at level 11 with Ignite and Stridebreaker. So if they don't bully you early, then you're absolutely gonna bully them late. And I think they are the same here. Like, Akshan won't do anything. Aurora can be kind of annoying. She can be tricky. Out of all these champions, the ones that bully you the hardest, I'd say is Teemo and Aurora. Like Quinn here. I want to say something about Quinn. You can never Q her, because she will always E you. And if you saw the boss video, I tried to Q him, he just turns me around and my Q doesn't connect. And the same happened like over and over and over. No matter how many times you try, your Q is not gonna connect if he E's you. So what you have to do is, after Stridebreaker, you walk up to him. Let's say he goes to farm or does something. You come into his range, press a Stridebreaker, you walk up to him, and then you're in melee range. He's like, oh shit, I don't want to be in melee range versus Garen. So I'm gonna E. He E's you, but then you activate Q. You run to him, he's still slowed by Stridebreaker, and you still have movement speed from Stridebreaker. And you now also have speed from Q. If you don't catch him still, you can Ignite on top of that, or Ghost. I like Ghost more in this matchup. And then you will guaranteed catch her. And Quinn, while in melee range, she is useless. She has no damage, no sustain, no armor. She gets one-shotted. And if she's already used her E to get away from you, but you caught up to her again because you used your Q after her E, then you just one-shot her, melt her, she can't do anything. So after Stridebreaker, you should be bullying her, but before it, you get absolutely bullied. Okay, before I skip over them all, I want to talk about Gnar too. In his mini Gnar, early game, he kind of deals no damage at all. It's the same as most range champions. Sit back, don't do anything really. But the way you trade with Gnar and like the way you make him lose HP and you kind of get a kill window is either like one, it's very early game and you stand in your wave and kite away from you or kite away from him so that he stands in your caster minions and then you let him attack you. By letting him attack you, all your caster minions will retarget onto Gnar and make him kinda low, or at least lower, so that it's easier for you to go back in. This is true for all range champions, by the way. If you're struggling versus range champions, just walk back, let them stand where your caster minions are, let them attack you, all your caster minions will attack them, and they will be kinda your damage on them. While they damage you, your minions damage them, if that makes sense. And then the other way, I said there was two ways you could kill Gnar or damage him, is when he's Mega Gnar. If he goes Mega Gnar, just trade with him. He's gonna use W or ult. Just use your W for that. Full combo him. When he finally pops out of his Mega Gnar, he's gonna be like a bit lower. And then you can flash on him, you can do whatever you want. Little mini Gnar has 0 HP, 0 resistance, so you can very easily just kill him after that. Okay, I forgot to add Cassiopeia here. She's kind of the same. She's also another ranged champion that does bully you early. But even if she bullies you early, it should be fine. Because the only way she actually deals a lot of damage to you is if you are poisoned. So either you're standing inside her W or you're got hit by her Q. And then you can just kite away from it. But if you Q max and consistently like pokes her with like Q, run away, Q, run away. She can't deal with all that poke. And she also can't hit you with the poison because you're so fast. But if you have your Q active like almost all the time, she can't hit you with the poison. And if she's like ulting you, then you can just W that. And if you W's that, then she has no more defensive tools other than W. But if you have Phase Rush, then her W slow won't even do that much. So you can just go in, combo her, she used all her stuff. Either just go out, or just continue and finish her off with Ult Ignite. It's slightly rough early, but you hardcore outscale her. And then we have Set. He hardcore bullies you early game. If you stand in the minion wave, or close to it, and he manages to get the stun with W, if he stuns you, then gets this like auto, and then Q, and then like W on top of that, you're gonna take so much damage. So, and because Set also knows that that's his like win con, he's always gonna be looking for that like angle. Oh shit, Garen is walking here, I can stun him here. Right when you walk into his stun range, press W to bait out this thing. If he pulls you in, stuns you when you have your W, not only will your like the stun not last that long, but also you won't take that much damage and you can just auto, Q, E, run away. Oh, that was a good trade for you, and your sustain is better than him. So not only did you get a better health trade, but you also have better sustain than him. And you kind of have to do that like multiple times to beat Set. If you do get hit by the true damage from his W, you're cooked. But yeah, I think after Stridebreaker, you kind of just go in, do your combo, go out, he can't chase you, he's a snail. And yeah, it's super simple after Stridebreaker. Kayle is kind of interesting. I think she beats you, like let's say she beats you level 1, because she has slightly longer range, you will be lower HP, your sustain will be better, and you can survive her sustain. You shouldn't be able to kill her, and she shouldn't be able to kill you. But after the first back, let's say you both back on 1000, like 100 HP, she gets, I don't know, a Blasting Wand and Dark Seal or something, and you get a Phage or whatever. she's gonna be dealing more damage now compared to what she did before, and you're not gonna be able to tank as much of her damage, if that makes sense. Like, percent-wise, she's gonna deal more damage now, and her poke is gonna hit more. Not only will her Q cost less energy, so she can spam it more frequently, but all of them will also deal more damage, and your Doran's shield won't heal you as much anymore. So Kayle, after the first back, is kinda annoying, but then when you get your full item, Stridebreaker, and then like maybe some more items, you will hardcore outscale her. She will go invisible. Oh shit, Garen doesn't care if they're invisible or not. He will just spin on them. See the outline. Oh shit, outline is over here. I just go to the outline. And then the outline is here. I just go there. I like just follow the outline. And yeah, the invisibility does nothing versus you. Kayle is good at countering champions that need to auto-attack. Because auto-attacks require vision, and Kayle counters that by having stealth. But since Garen doesn't really care about auto-attacking, he just beats her after Stridebreaker. And now for the monkey. The monkey is really scary. He's kind of like Riven in a way. Both of them are really strong at level 1. They can both force on you pretty hard. But the reason why Wukong is here is because he got slightly stronger level 1. His passive is insane. He gets more armor and like regen than any other champion almost. If he starts E, he gets insane attack speed. So just don't focus him level 1. So level 1, he's a lot stronger, which means he will also get the prio for level 2 and then prio for level 3. So you kinda can't fight him there. But then on the bounce, he can't do too much. Let's say either you back off or you don't, it doesn't matter. When he gets level 6, now it's back again to being the same as Riven. At level 6, he probably has the strongest level 6 in the game, like power spike. From level 5 to 6 is the biggest difference, maybe. Okay, you can't quote me on that, that's probably not true. But it's really strong at least. If he goes in, he E's auto Q R. First the Q reduces your armor, then use the clone, gets a double spin on you, and then gets another Q, or he W's Q and then ults again. After that ult, he's gonna get another Q. So he's gonna be able to get 5 Qs off in one combo, 2 of which are from the clone, so technically 3, but then plus 2 clone Qs. Plus also he's gonna get a lot of max HP damage with his ult. And if you don't have your W, or you haven't bought HP, that's just an instant one-shot. You can't survive Wukong's combo without having W or having your bought HP. But after Stridebreaker, he's no longer gonna be able to one-shot you, because you have bought HP, and you will have W most of the time. And his sustain sucks. He doesn't have nearly as much sustain as Garen. You can all-in him. Without his ult, he's trash. Like his normal spells, like EWQ, they are garbage compared to Garen's EWQ. So you hardcore outscale him as Stridebreaker. The only thing you have to worry about is his ult. But as long as he doesn't have his ult, it's completely fine. He can be a bit annoying. At like level 9, his Q gets really long range. But as long as you just play around that, he can't do too much. And now, Gwen. As is true for all other champions here, I think Gwen kinda can bully you early. As long as you don't start E and try your hardest to push the wave. And also dodge her Q. But you might say, oh shit, how do you dodge her Q? That shit is like a massive area, like he spreads out and snip, 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 like you can't dodge it. But it doesn't have that long range. So either you walk up with E, you trade with her, and also hit the minions, so you get prio for level 2, and then you just get level 2 first, you get level 3 first, play out the bounce, let her shove it, and then you basically get level 6, and then you kinda outscale her. Or you don't start E, and then you're gonna struggle, because she's gonna first be able to stack up her Q on the wave, she's then gonna like snip you, while you walk back and forth, trying to dodge or outspace her Q, she might just hold on to that Q. So while you're trying like here, like she's here, you're here, while she's trying to walk back, oh wait, she's here, you're here, while, what the fuck, am I stupid? While she's here, you're here, while you try to walk back and forth outside her Q range, she's just gonna hit the minions. And while she's hitting the minions, you're focused on dodging her Q. If she just never uses her Q, she's gonna be able to push all these minions, and you're gonna be forced to give all priority. And if you do that, well then she's gonna get level 2 first, and she's gonna get level 3 first, play the bounce, maybe she got you low, that might be a problem, or she just recalls, get some stronger items, and then you might like struggle a bit until Stridebreaker. But when you get Stridebreaker, there is no champion in the game that is worse into Garen than Gwen. Gwen does absolutely nothing. You walk up to her, it's super simple, you do your little combo. Either you start with like Q, run up to her, E, so while she's silenced she can't do anything. You just like W obviously for blocking her normal auto attacks, or her E. And then you press a Stridebreaker right when the silence ends. You just proc Face Rush, Stridebreaker at the same time, boom, you're out of there. She has no way to lock you down, like no CC like that, no CC from him, no blah blah. She can't do anything. And she's completely useless after that, and it should be a free outscale after that, or you should be stronger than her after that. Now Kled, I think Kled is kind of the same. He bullies you early. If you go in on him, he will one-shot you. He can hold his level up for his W until he's in a fight. And if he gets the whole like bum, like all the W hits on you, he will like almost one-shot you. Most Kleds play with Ignite as well. So if he hooks you with Q on top of the goat, Skarl, and then gets W smacks, follows with E, you try to run away with Face Rush, he follows again, he pulls you back in or some bullshit, he's gonna deal so much damage. So early game, he's a monster, but then after Stridebreaker, he can't do anything. He doesn't have the damage to really deal with your HP from levels, HP from Resolve, HP from Stridebreaker, and also W. He can't really get through all of that, while you can go in for a quick trade and like make him hop off his donkey, and then you just skittle up on out of there. Like, do that 1 or 2 times, and then you can just ult him. He can't do anything versus you, unless you fall behind early. But if you go even, like here, going even is winning. So as long as you're going even, you're winning. And you just hardcore outscale at Stridebreaker. And that's kinda true for Swain as well. Just wait for Stridebreaker and you outscale him. Early game, his Qs don't deal that much damage, but if you tank a few too many of them, they're gonna start adding up. And if he gets a E on you after you already tanked a bunch of Qs, then he's gonna get E into guaranteed W, into guaranteed Q, into guaranteed like 2 auto attacks. Or 3 maybe even, because you're slowed from the W. So make sure that you're never like too low HP versus Swain, or else you are dead. You can obviously use your Q to cleanse his W slow, and also you can use W to minimize the E root duration, but I think it's still gonna be kinda tricky. He deals a lot of damage, and I think his E is pretty hard to dodge. You have to, as soon as he throws it, like don't wait. Don't sit there like, oh, I'm just gonna take this minion first and then do it. No, as soon as he throws his E, you have to dodge immediately. Dodge perpendicular, so if he throws it this way, you have to run immediately like that way or this way. Because if you don't, then you're gonna get hit by the full combo. He's gonna get stacks from it, and you're gonna get cooked from it. And you don't want that. When you get to Stridebreaker, you can go in, do your little trade, and then Stridebreaker out. Make sure that when you Stridebreaker out, you don't get pulled back in and he ults you. Because if you get pulled back in, not only did you waste Stridebreaker, you also wasted Face Rush. So those 2 are gone, and you can only escape with Q, which will come up in like a few seconds. But not even Q will save you. So it's really important that when you go for these little short trades, that you have to dodge his E when you're on your way out to escape from him. Otherwise, he ults, you're stuck in his ult, you're gonna get cooked. You can't do anything. But that's like the only way he kills you, is if you get hit by E, and then you get stuck in his ult, because you don't have Face Rush and Stridebreaker. But yeah, you should outscale him. And then we have the second brother. Do I talk about the first one first, maybe? First brother. He's less commonly seen top lane than his brother. Yasuo is kinda annoying. He's stronger than Sion early, because he has a shield. Basically has two spells early. He has his fat shield from his passive, and also he has Q. A lot of people go lethal tempo, and they just hardcore win early because they can just like auto attack and Q, auto attack, Q. The more they auto attack, the lower the Q cooldown will be. They bully you early, but you should hard outscale as Stridebreaker. Just go in, like hit a minion, or just press Stridebreaker to activate their shield or his shield. Once his shield is gone, then you can go in for a real trade. They don't usually get that good sustain early on. So if you go in, take a, let's say, equal heft trade. It shouldn't even be equal because you have Stridebreaker. You should be like bullying him with your W and stuff. You run out of there. He is left with less HP than you are. You're gonna regen it up. He can't even regen it up. You're gonna bully him. The only way you can really fuck this lane up is if he goes really aggressive early. So this is like, he's gonna use his early game power. Every time he has his passive, he's gonna force a trade with you. He's not gonna let you like proc it and then go away. He's gonna go in, like dash on the minions, stack the tornado, go on you, have the tornado ready, and then just dash away back before you can even fight him. So he's gonna get like 200 HP shanked on you, while you can't really trade back to him. So yeah, it's only the early game that Yasuo can really do something. After that, he hardcore gets outscaled. And the same is true for his brother, Sion, or Yone, or whatever it's really called. He's also super annoying early. He's not as strong as Yasuo is, like early game, because he doesn't have the inbuilt passive. But it does have the annoying E, which means you can't chase him. If he is one direction, hey, one direction, and you run after him, he's faster than you are. So he's just gonna, like, he's gonna go away. Well, you can't chase him. But, and also, he can, like, stack his Q. Like, he Qs a minion, you chase him, Qs a minion, dashes back to his original spot. Let's say you wait at his original spot and he has stacked his Qs. He goes back, knocks you up immediately with his, like, tornado, and you can't, like, get more than one Q on him. So if he uses his E, there's no really good reason to just continue chasing him. Doesn't really ever work. If you stay at his original spot and he has access to minions, so he can stack Qs, then you also, there's no reason to stand here. He's just gonna Q you when he comes back. But if you're able to run at him without using Q, he jumps away with E, leaves the thing behind, runs away, and then doesn't have anything to Q. No minions, nothing. And he can't Q you because you like space it well because he doesn't want to go close to you. Then he comes back with nothing. Then you can absolutely like 100 to 0 him. His shield is not that big. And you can like he doesn't build HP. So you one-shot him after Stridebreaker. Okay, so at Stridebreaker you one-shot him. But before it, it's not even that bad. He can poke you with his Q and W. He can also like E forward, W, Q, auto. Like he can do his like Sion thing. That's the most common Sion combo ever. But then when he snaps back, he doesn't have E for quite some time. And then you can really look to like run at him. Make sure you get his W first. It's kind of annoying to deal with early game. Late game, not so much. Late game, his shield is not big enough for you to care about. But early game, it's definitely big enough for you to care about. So don't trade into his W early game. If you do, you're automatically gonna lose. But late game, you should be able to just have enough damage to, even if he uses W, you just go right through it and you just kill him. Like at Stridebreaker, you can't lose anymore. Also, one other good thing that I like to do for Sion is like I'd like to Q max, because he will like try to go up and in your face. So you just like slap him with one massive Q, boom, and then walk away. The speed you get from maxing Q is also really nice to kite his E, or just kite everything he does. So Q max, or at least 3 points in Q, and then maybe you can go into E max, is what I like to do versus Sion. Olaf, I think this champion is kinda ass. It's maybe on par with Gwen. Really strong early game. Like, he's even stronger than Gwen early game, obviously. He's passive on top of his Q, being really strong early. But then he gets outscaled in the same way that Gwen does. You can run up to him, press your... Let's say you just go walk in melee range. You don't even have to waste your Q to get to him, because he also wants to fight you. You walk up to him, you just auto E with W active, and he's just gonna do his combo, not doing a lot of damage, because you have your full stride breaker, you have like HP runes, you have your W, you have everything. You're too tanky for him. Shred his little armor with your E, and then when you feel like you're, I don't want to do this anymore, then you just press Q, stride breaker, and you're out of there. Exact same way you do versus Gwen. Like, neither of the champions can stop you, but he can bully you pretty hard early game if you're not careful. His Qs are annoying. There's not much to say. Just be careful of his early game. He gets hard outscaled, and he bullies you hard early. He fits perfectly here. And then we have Shen. I think Shen is insanely strong. His W, or not his W, but his passive shield is massive. It has like no cooldown at all. Even if you are at a full item, you still don't outscale him. You need multiple items to outscale him. He's stronger than you level 1, because he gets his Q. If he drags it through you, you automatically lose, because it is a stronger Q. He gets move speed towards you, you're slowed, and also he gets more attack speed. So he just lobs out 3 fast Qs, has a massive shield. Like, what do you have? Auto Q, you can't do anything, you can't trade versus him. So usually I start with W to just try to survive and maybe get some of the CS early. Usually you're gonna have to settle for the XP, or start W, get CS. But then at Stride Breaker, you're still gonna be losing, but you can be taking the waves a lot easier versus him. So like early game, even if he, let's say his W gets no value because you auto queued him, and after the queue is over, like you E and then he Ws, even if he doesn't get any value from that, and you perfectly time your W with his E, he's still gonna at least go even. Most likely he's gonna win the trade because his Q is that strong. Like Q plus his passive is that strong to just completely win the trade. Even with you doing everything perfectly and he fucking up everything, he's still gonna win early. Most Shans also go Ignite, so you don't even have a like combat summoner advantage over him. It isn't until a few items that you start to like bully him. If even you can call it bully him. You're like at most gonna go kinda even versus him. You won't be able to kill him. You will deal more damage in teamfights though. So there are ways to like play around it and be more useful than Shen. When he like ults away, you can take plates, you can take camps, you can proxy, you can do whatever. You can accelerate your gameplay like that. But it is kinda hard to beat him early or to even go early, even. He's gonna try to bully you hard. So going even is hard, but going even is winning. Because you will eventually outscale him. And then Pantheon. Pantheon, eh? I think Pantheon's Q is super annoying to deal with. It has no cooldown at all, costs no mana, is AoE, and deals a lot of damage. Plus, it can be empowered to deal like an insane amount of damage. There's nothing Garen can do to trade with Pantheon early game. Like you can't start E with Conqueror and go bomb plating with Ignite or some bullshit. You can't go auto Q. You're just gonna have to accept that, oh shit, this champion is way stronger than I am. And I like to start W to just get the CS, make him like use his powerful Q. You just W it or you try to sidestep it or something. And then you just try to survive the early game. Sometimes I go TP in this matchup, and if you do go TP, it's much easier to make him use a lot of resources on you, like a lot of his mana, and maybe trade some of his HP to get you low. You base TP back, and now he's low on resources while you're just full on resources. You come back, and then you can start laning for real. But yeah, early game versus Pantheon is really rough. I got a monster, and you need to wait for your Stridebreaker to have a chance to kill him. And then after Stridebreaker, like beyond that, if you get even more items, you're just gonna hardcore outscale him. He does nothing, even if you're like, even if he's ahead by like 1.5 items. Or no, if he's ahead by half an item, so let's say he has Eclipse plus, I don't know, a Dirk and something else, a longsword, and you only have Stridebreaker, I still think you win if you're the same level and you don't waste your entire combo on his E, because you can just walk up to him or Q up to him, and if he E's your Q, then you just don't E yourself, and then you E after his Q is done, and obviously be ready to W his W, so that his stun plus the little that shit doesn't deal a lot of damage to you. So overall, Pantheon, really scary early game, but you hardcore outscale him. So just go even, and you should be hard winning. Okay, now we have 3 special champions here. I'm thinking if I should put them either in you lose early, but outscale, because you do lose early, but you outscale, versus all these 3 champions. Rumble, Warwick, and Tryndamere. All these champions here, they will bully you early. Warwick, there's no way you can kill him without your ultimate. And Tryndamere, he's Tryndamere, he got his Fury, he's gonna crit you, and crit early game is just crazy. If he has 50%, he's gonna E forward, crit you, that's like more than 200 damage in one little mini trade, while you can just auto Q at max. And if you decide to auto Q, then he's gonna get another auto attack, and that's most likely gonna crit, because the Riot Gods are always on Tryndamere's side for some reason. So Tryndamere annoying as fuck early. Warwick also annoying as fuck early. This guy also annoying as fuck early. I was thinking about putting them if you die once, then you lose. Because if you die once to Tryndamere, it is really hard to come back. But the thing is, he gets so insanely outscaled. Like, he gets crazy outscaled, Tryndamere. You can buy randomins, because he's a crit top laner. If they have a crit ADC, and maybe like Akshan mid, or they have Graves jungle, Kindred jungle, or something like that, then we'll have 3 crit champions. If you buy randomins, like, his damage will be negative. He won't deal any damage at all to you. And you can just, with your base damage and randomins, you can just like kill him straight up. So it's not over if the team comp is good for it, even if you die early. But it's like, maybe I put him up here, maybe not, maybe. But obviously you are losing early, and then you do outscale him. Rumble and Warwick, they are both annoying as hell in 2 different ways. Warwick is annoying because he can walk up to you, get a big trade, and if you don't have Ignite, you can never kill him. And even if you do have Ignite, he can choose to take Barrier, and if he takes Barrier, there's nothing that can kill Warwick. Unless you're like slightly later into the game. But early game, you cannot kill Warwick with Barrier. Because he will just hit the minions, heal like crazy. The lower HP he is, I believe it's like below 1/4 of his HP, he starts healing like triple the amount. So he's like 50 HP per auto attack, plus he attacks super fast if you are low HP, or just minions are low HP. So there's no way you kill him early. He can force a trade with you, like he walks behind your minions, force a trade with you, and then zone you from all the minions. Like zone you from the XP. Like, let's say the wave is over here, you're over here trying to get to the wave. He's like, oh shit, you can't be here. So he walks you over to your turret, while the wave is here. He stands, gets the XP. You're like, oh, Warwick, can I get some XP? He's like, no, you can't get an XP. So then you're getting kind of cooked. And if you trade with him, oh shit, you lost 300 HP, he lost 500. He attacks 5 times on the minions. Oh, boop, up. He's back to half HP again. So if he has barrier, it is almost impossible to beat him early game. But if you do manage to play even, and you do get equal CS, you don't let him get plates, and he has the flash barrier while you have flash ignite, you're both at stride breaker, you should be fine at that point. Because you can go up to him, get him to half HP. Remember, he only heals with his passive up to half HP. If he wants to heal above half, he either needs to buy lifesteal, which kind of sucks, or he needs to use his Q. So that's not gonna be happening too much. It's not gonna be well above half HP. Whereas your passive will take you all the way from 0 all the way to full HP. Doesn't matter how healthy you are, you will always heal as long as you're outside of combat. So you both trade, boom, you lose half HP each, let's say. Then he heals from Q maybe, goes to 60%, 70, you heal to full HP, then you trade again. But now you go in with the intent to kill him. You go in, auto E, you W his either Q or ult or just whatever it does. After E is done, you auto Q with ignite, obviously from earlier, so you're preventing his healing. And then you burst him with ult. And your E ignite, or auto E, auto Q ignite, or stride breaker, all these 7 things should be able to kill Warwick from half HP. And he shouldn't heal that much if you have ignite. And if you still can't kill him, just wait 1 extra item, until you get Mortal Reminder, and then you absolutely should be able to kill him. So early game, Warwick bullies you, and then later on, you should bully him. Most Warwicks tend to just run away from Garen after the laning phase is over. Warwicks just tend to run away from you. And then Rumble here. He's kind of like Heimerdinger in a way. Both are AP champions that hardcore bully you early. Rumble isn't forced to pushing, whereas Heimer is forced. So Rumble can freeze, which is much worse for Garen than it is not freezing. So if the little rat here decides he wants to freeze, stands past your minions, Qs you, E's you, you're cooked early game. Early game is super rough. Sometimes I like to take TP just to survive the early game if I think that they will gank me early. Let's say they have Rek'Sai or Xin Zhao or something that can really easily dive me. Elise is also another example that easily dives you. That I like going TP just to survive the dive. But after you get Stride Breaker, like with all these champions here, I think you outscale Rumble. And if you don't outscale at Stride Breaker, then you should outscale at the next item. Or the item after that. You should hardcore outscale him. Your W is strong enough to tank his combo, whereas he's not strong enough to tank your combo at that point. And then boom, next tier. You lose prio early and get outscaled. Going even is not the best. So, Vladimir, he has 2 popular setups. Either he goes Airy with Scourge, Ignite, Cut Down and Flash. This setup is insanely strong. It's a lane bully setup that kind of bullies you. He will walk up, take every trade he can, space you well, he will make you low and then dive you on wave 3. If he manages to dive you, or if he manages to get you to let's say half HP by the time the 3rd wave crashes, then he can just stack up his powered Q on a minion or something, walk up on the dive, use Ignite, auto powered Q, charge up his E, and not pool the first third shot, but then get another auto attack on you, and then pool on you for so you take damage and he heals up, plus the turret just disconnects, it goes onto the minions. Then you will tank more than half of your HP. Even if you somehow live that, when he comes out of the pool, he can then go again with more stuff. He probably won't have Q back, but he can go for like few more auto attack if he wants. But most of the time, if that doesn't kill you, he will just go out of turret range. Remember, there's still a big wave under your turret, so your turret is occupied with shooting them. He's just gonna wait for his spells, he charges up E and Q, and then you're dead again. So that setup with Ahri is insanely strong, and you will lose prio early, and you will also get outscaled by that setup. There's not much you can do. You just gotta pray that he goes for the phase rush setup. If he has phase rush, he's like, oh shit, I wanna scale slightly harder. So he's giving up some of the early poke power to be able to be faster late game and be stronger in team fights. But the thing is, if he goes phase rush, then you can be able to take the farm. You can also be able to like threaten him, poke him a bit, and play the lane basically a lot easier. So you will be able to scale while he won't be able to scale as hard. So he thinks by going phase rush, he will scale harder. But the truth is that if he goes phase rush, then you're allowed to play the game. You're allowed to zone him from some minions. You're allowed to go and trade with him. You're allowed to do kind of whatever you want. And he doesn't scale while going phase rush. Unless you're like AFK and let him do all of that. Because then he gets a scaling room page plus an AFK lane opponent. He's gonna scale in lane. He's gonna scale crazy late game. He's gonna go absolutely nuclear. But yeah, it's hard to rate Vladimir because of the two different room pages. That's kind of true for most champions here. But here, generally, you lose prio early and you get outscaled. Actually, now thinking about it, I'll move him up here, because I only said you lose prio early, but versus Vlad, you don't not only lose prio early, but he also bullies you early, so he completely wins early, not just prio. Because he can't kill you, he can't dive you, he can't put you behind. So yeah, a great example of someone that you lose prio versus though is Trundle. You lose prio in lane, because if you walk up to farm, then he's just gonna do his like full combo on you. He's gonna put down his field on the ground, auto Q you, put the pillar behind you, they continues to smack you 5,000 times. And you can't really do too much. You just have to accept that, okay, he's stronger, I'm gonna lose all prio early. And I'll just try my best to farm up. I'll try to do this, do that. But the thing is that you don't even outscale him. So let's say you both go even. You cannot buy armor versus Trundle. If you buy armor to like, let's say, oh, I want to be tanker, I don't want Trundle to kill me, then he ults you. And what Trundle's ult does is that it steals armor from you. It also steals max HP. So if you build HP and armor and he ults you, he's like, yoink, that HP and armor is mine and I'm now tankier. And what Garen really hates is tanky opponents that he can't kill in one combo. So you're forced to building full damage versus Trundle. And even if you go full damage and you go even, if he has like barely enough HP or barely enough armor and you can't kill him in one combo and you fall behind slightly, then he's just gonna be taking plates in your face, he's gonna be taking turrets in your face, he's gonna be like proxy farming, taking jungle camps, he's gonna be taking over the game basically. It's kind of hard to play versus Trundle if he doesn't fuck up early, which most Trundles do. They are kind of like Garen players, not the smartest, but at least he doesn't like forcefully dive you early, like the S-tier champions there will do. He will kind of leave you alone, and he can't zone you that well. His sustain isn't that good until he gets some of his items that have life steal in them, like Rammus or something like that. But what a lot of these Rammus champions does is they will clear a wave and then they will walk up in your face to take plates. And then you're like, oh shit, don't take my plates. You take half their HP and then they're like, okay, I go back, wait for the next wave, and then they just heal on that wave. Back to full HP and repeat. Take plates in the wave, go back, heal on full HP, because they have Ravenous Hydra. Trundle's passive plus his W increase the healing like crazy. So he's gonna be able to repeat that once he hits Hydra. But what you can do is, right when he killed the first wave, instead of letting him go all the way up to your turret, you can stand in the way so that he can't get to your turret, and you fight him for it right there. He doesn't have that much max HP if he buys Ravenous, because it doesn't give any max HP. You fight him, let's say you do W auto E, reduce his armor a bit, so like you spin around on his ass. He doesn't respect you, so he's just standing there bonking you, and then you end the combo with auto Q. Then you back off. He's now at half HP from the combo, you're at half HP, but he's like, oh, I'll heal on the next wave. But then he doesn't respect you. You clear the wave, your spells only have like 8-9 second cooldown, apart from W. Then you walk up, he's like, hey yo, you're not supposed to walk up, I'm the big boss of top lane. So he will also try to fight you. But if he fights you, then now you pop Ignite, now you pop like E or like auto E with Ignite and then auto Q ult. Even if he ults, then he should die. So there are definitely ways to outplay it and go more than even, but you will lose prio early. And if you don't do the thing I just said, then you will get outscaled. So going even is kind of meh as well. So yeah, you lose prio early, and going even is meh. So you have to do these things I just explained with the Ravenous Hydra, and you have to kill him in that way for Trundle to be like useless, or for you to be more useful than Trundle. And then we have a bit of a strange champion, Yuri. You lose prio early versus Yuri. He has his form to just clear the entire wave super easily. Garen can't outrun his storm at all early game. So you're forced to stay inside his zone if you're ever going close to him. You can't walk up to the wave, because if you do walk up to the wave, then he puts the field on top of you, and then he like activates it like twice. Then you're gonna forced to tank the entire thing. And well, if you tank the entire thing, then you're gonna lose more than half HP, and you're not really gonna be able to lane or try to get level 2 first, or have any kind of tempo over him to like help with the grubs later on or something like that. And even if you do manage to get a good trade onto Yuri, he can just press W twice, or like use Awaken W, get a massive shield, and then he heals for like 5000 HP per auto attack. So I feel like you kinda can't kill Yuri ever if he doesn't want to die. Also, he has insane damage if you're ever isolated with him with his Q. And then his ult also has insane wave clear and damage to you. So I feel like Yuri is kinda annoying. You lose prio early and you kinda get outscaled. So going even is it's not that good. Like we're getting to the stinkier matchups here. I think the thing that makes him really tough for Garen is the fact that you kinda can't kill him ever. If his W didn't have insane healing, then it would be much easier for Garen to play into him. But now he has insane healing. He can lock you down with his ult almost, like before you get Stridebreaker, because then you can like easily use Stridebreaker, zoom out of there. But before Stridebreaker, your phase rush is not that good, your Q is not that good, you kinda can't get out of his slow field, he will bully you, he can try to get plates in your face, you don't have damage enough to stop him early game, and if you try to, he's just gonna use the turtle stance, shield all your damage, you're gonna either miss minions, because you're trying to focus him, or you're gonna take the minions while he takes the turret. So it's kinda like lose-lose situation versus Yuri. The only real way you win versus Yuri is if they are stupid, which luckily most of them are. And the way they are stupid is that they use some other awakening. They use, let's say, they use the storm. They use RR instead of like WW or something. Because if they use the awaken the turtle, they will get a massive shield and you have no chance at all of killing them. But if they use some other awaken spell, then it's so much easier for Garen to kill him, and you can. Okay, I shouldn't say easily, but you can find angles to kill Yuri, and then you're no longer going even, and now you're kind of fine. So like, if you're up like 1 or 2 kills, then you're gonna be equally strong as the Yuri. And then we have Kaiser. Kaiser, or Mordekaiser as it's called, he's insanely strong. He's like a moving fortress. He has no speed at all, but he's also he's an immovable object, basically. The way you beat him. Oh, by the way, I have a full guide on Mordekaiser on my channel if you do want to know like everything ins and outs about him. But you kind of lose Briar early. He has longer range than Garen. He can poke you from afar with his Q and E. Also, you can't all-in him early game because of his W. So he hooks you in with E, Q, and then you try to fight him. He presses W. Your combo dealt nothing to him, whereas he dealt something to you. So you're like, ah, shit, my combo did nothing. Maybe I should continue going more. But no, if you continue going even more versus him, then he's gonna get his Q back up sooner than you're getting your Q back up. Plus also his passive is kind of crazy. Not only does it enhance his auto attacks, but also it creates the field around him. So there's no way you can take extended trades versus Mordekaiser. Just make sure that if you want to trade with him, do so when he doesn't have W, or at least when he presses W, that's when you disengage. Also, as I said, I have a full guide on this matchup. I don't want to talk too much about Mordekaiser. You lose Briar early, and you kind of get outscaled. He's a fortress. You're not supposed to deal him or win 1v1 versus him. When you have a fast champion like Garen, like he gets fast late game, versus a slow-ass fortress, it wouldn't be fair if the slow fortress lost versus the fast ping pong ball. That's not fair. So he's just gonna win 1v1. Even if you're like up half an item, he still wins 1v1. He still outscales you. But you can outmaneuver him. You can be more useful in other ways than just 1v1ing him. Yorick. Yorick. Quite opposite from Mordekaiser. I don't like Yorick, whereas I do like Mordekaiser. This guy, early game, maybe he doesn't. Okay, maybe he doesn't belong in this tier. Maybe he should be here actually. Whatever. I'm not sure if he should be here or there. Actually, he should be here. Early game, he's not that strong. You can both auto Q each other and walk away. Nothing too crazy. Or you start with E to get the push as well. And then you get Briar for level 2, and then you get Briar for level 3. But after that, if Yorick is one of the few champions that hardcore outscale Garen. If he puts up his wall, there's no like little secret you can do to get out of the wall. The only thing you can do is hit the wall. But late game, it has 4 HP. So then you have to waste auto Q, auto to get out of his cage. And by the time you have sat there and attacked the wall over and over, he's gonna just have his maiden on you. He's gonna have 500 ghouls on you. He's gonna have like sucked your armor and everything with your with his E, and he's just gonna be absolutely one-shotting you while you can't do anything. So if you do die once, then you will no longer be able to bully his weak early game, and he will constantly have a maiden up. You won't be able to really kill his maiden. His wall will be too healthy for you. And on top of that, your E, like, it sounds good. Oh, Garen's E just one-shots the ghouls, but no. Garen's E deals like insanely reduced damage to ghouls, or like to minions spawned by champions. So Yorick's little soldiers, the ghouls, they won't die to your E, so you have to manually auto-attack them once each. But if he has Maiden out, every time a minion or something dies near you, then more ghouls is just gonna spawn. So if you kill one, then another one spawns. Then you kill another one, then another one spawns. And then you kill one, and then another one spawns. If you fight him in a wave. So late game, you have to like go full damage, try to one-shot him, and if you can't one-shot him, you're cooked. And if you die early, you're cooked. He's gonna take turrets in your face. He has sustain with his W. He has like split pushing capabilities like crazy. Like, thank God not a lot of people play the champion. It is so annoying to play versus if you play Garen. And then we have Fiora here. I kind of skipped a bit over here, but Fiora goes here. You lose Briar early game. Fiora is way stronger than Garen is, level 1, or like early in general. She will try to push, or like slow push the first 3 waves, or like slow push the first 2 and then crash the 3rd wave, while also trading with you. So you will be low HP, while she got all the minions, got everything she wanted, and then she recalls, TP's back, while she got like a reset, she got max HP, she got items, then you're stuck in lane. You're sitting there half HP, or like you managed to heal up to like half HP from all the like little trades. You have to play out the bounce, but now she's full HP and she has more items than you. She walks behind the minions and now you're like really cooked. So you lose Briar early. You can outplay that strat by just not trading. If you don't trade early, if you just completely just give her all the space she needs, you can walk back, and then you can play out the bounce. If you stack a huge enough wave, Fiora has trash wave clear early on, so if you have a big wave, that helps you a lot. Unless, or like, not unless, unlike Renekton, where like, if you have a big wave versus Renekton or Irelia, it doesn't matter. Like, he just heals more in a big wave, she dashes more in a big wave, but Fiora, she can't deal with a big wave. So the way you like deal with her annoyingness is just make sure that you stack a big wave early on the bounce, or like at least try to, and then crash it, get your reset in, and then you should be able to like stabilize again. And then at level 6, you can manage to find kill opportunities, or like with your ult. Like, there's a little tiny trick. Most Fioras, they're like, oh shit, I need to parry Garen's ult, so they won't parry your Q. You're gonna start the combo with auto E when they are like a 3rd HP, or maybe a bit more. They are 2/5 HP. You're gonna auto Q them, and they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna parry that because I'm saving my parry for the ult. But then when they finally go below a 3rd HP from your auto Q, then you ult them, and then they die. They can't parry when silenced. So a lot of Fioras will just simply never use their W, unless they're good, of course. Like Grandmaster or Grandmaster above will obviously always use the W for the Q and not for the ult. But for lower elo Fioras, they will kind of mess it up and they will get stressed out, only thinking about, oh shit, I need to parry the ult. They'll get silenced by the Q, can't parry the ult, and then you can kill them. And then you can kind of snowball away from them. But if you go even, it's kind of meh. Like, if you can't do this trick where you kill them, it's gonna be kind of meh. They're gonna be able to take turns like crazy. Fiora is one of the best split pushers in the entire game. She can get insane healing from Rammus. She gets also lifesteal. Oh no, wait. She gets also wave clear. Wave clear healing and insane dueling ability. She can also go over walls with her Q. If multiple people like gank her or something, she can outplay it with her ult. Like, just proc it super fast, heal up on it, and it's a whole mess to deal with. Fiora is scaling like crazy. Her max HP true damage. Garen can't do too much about it if they are even. So it gets annoying. Like, going even is not winning. Here, most champion here, if you go even, you're winning. If you're going even versus Fiora, you're not really winning. And then Darius. Oh, my boy Darius. I love Darius. I think this is my favorite matchup to play. It's not Garen favored. It's not a good matchup for Garen, I think. In most elos. But I love it because in higher elos, if Garen really understands the matchup, you can whittle and waddle around. You can dash here, you can, or not dash, but you can move in ways that you just outplay his bleed, outrun his ghost. You can trick him with his... you can do so many things, basically. Just outplay the Darius. But even though you can outplay him in a lot of ways, you still lose Briar early game. And if you do go even versus him, you don't kill him, you don't like outperform him CS-wise, you don't get camped, you don't roam, you don't do this or that. If you just go 100 even, you will kind of be like, it's kind of meh. You won't really outscale him. Because in team fights, if he, let's say, gets 5 stacks on you, or 5 stacks on your fucking Maokai jungle or a Nautilus support or something, and he pops Ghost, gets a Q flash on everyone, ults your entire team, yeah, like he's gonna be 10 times more useful than you are. So going even is not that good. It's gonna be kind of meh. So on the side lane, on the 1v1, when you get Stride Breaker, you can dance a lot with him, unless he has Ghost. But yeah, like if you're interested more about the Darius matchup, I have a full guide on the Darius matchup as well. So I don't want to talk too much about him here. But yeah, I just love the champion. I have a guide on him. Okay, and then Volibear, it's kind of crazy. It's the same again here. You lose Pyro early. His passive not only gives the lightning effect at 5 stacks, but it also gives him attack speed. So Volibear, by only just attacking the minions early, he will get a lot of attack speed and also on-hit damage that bounces around. Plus, if he gets the E-shield and somehow manages to hit it, he should never be able to hit it, but sometimes it happens and sometimes you get fucked by it. If he hits it, you're absolutely screwed. The way you kinda can outplay it, and maybe not lose prio, is you go E level 1. You can go Conqueror. I'd recommend Conqueror versus him if you don't need Phase Rush for, let's say they have Ashe or some annoying champions that you need Phase Rush for. But I really like having Conqueror versus Volibear. And he goes E level 1. He usually stands in the middle bush out of the 3 in the top lane. Ease the minions right when they crash. You just drag the minions slightly off-centered. So he's E is gonna be slightly further away. I know it's kind of hard to explain, but slightly drag the minions. Start hitting them immediately. He's like, oh shit, I don't want to lose push level 1. So he's gonna attack your minions. He's gonna E your minions while you just attack normally. When his E shield is gone, that's when you walk in to him and you auto E him. With Conqueror, you should be able to win auto E versus just his passive. Obviously, after your E is over, then you back off, because his passive is obviously stronger than your passive in a fight. But he should be half HP by now. And then, by the time he gets to the next wave, he's gonna get his level up. It's gonna be kinda tricky. But if he managed to either get to level 2 at the same time, or make him you use E on the wave or something, then you can all in him and kill him level 2 or 3. So you lose prio early, technically, but there are ways to play around it. And yes, it is true, Volibear hardcore outscales Garen. The unending despair, Spirit Visage, Iceborne, I don't know, Cosmic Drive, he can buy so many items. It doesn't really matter what items he buys. Most builds, even the Rod of Ages plus Navori Quickblades, even that build outscales Garen hard. So going even is not even good either. So you lose prio early, and also you shouldn't be going even, because that's kind of losing for you. And now Cho'gath. Oh, Cho'gath. I think Cho'gath is super annoying. He could be in so many different tiers here. Depending on setup, if he has Hail of Blades, if he has Grasp, if he starts defensive with, let's say, a mana crystal and a healing potion, if he has Dark Seal, if he goes tank, if he goes AP, he can be down here with the tanks, he can be up here. If you die once, it's over. You don't really lose prio early versus him, but if you do die once, then it's over. You don't lose early. It's not a skill matchup. You shouldn't bully them, but sometimes it's a farm lane. So I don't know where exactly to place him. I'm gonna place him up here. Because if you do die once to Cho'gath, you're never gonna be able to kill him ever again. He's always gonna be way tankier than you can deal with. So you can't kill him. He can sustain on the minions. He can constantly feast on the minions, get even healthier, scale even harder. They are gonna nerf Warmogs for next season. He's not building it that often, but when he does, it's kinda annoying to deal with. Can never kill him. Same with Ornn and Mundo. When they do go Warmogs, it's unplayable. But it doesn't really matter what items he goes. Like that could be Heartsteel, Liandry's, Riftmaker, like any of those, and he just like wins afterwards. So if you die once and you can't shut him down early, he will be a monster and outscale you. He's kinda in here, like should bully them, otherwise you lose. But the reason why I don't really put him in should bully them is because he's kinda strong early. Like he's definitely stronger than this guy. He's kinda same as Gangplank in a way, but also stronger. He's weaker than Kayle level 1, but after level 1 he just hardcore outscales Kayle. So like you're supposed to bully him, but he's also strong early and scales for late. So it's hard for Garen to deal with, since Garen doesn't have a lot of max HP damage, like apart from his ult, of course. And then Tahm Kench, the frog. The frog is the same. I think if you die once, then you lose. It's the exact same. These two are just copies of each other, Tahm Kench and Cho'gath. They can both build kind of the same items. They're both too tanky to deal with if you die once. And you're like supposed to bully them early, so like you're supposed to be here, because otherwise they scale into a monster. But you can't really bully them early. Like this guy got healing on his Q, this guy got healing on his passive, sustain on his E. His W is kinda, okay, the kinda useless spell, but his passive on his ult, and like he's just kinda super strong. Really annoying to deal with. The only way you can win lane is by standing behind the minions and trying to Q on him. His sustain isn't good unless he can hit Qs on you. So as long as you're always standing behind the minions, let's say he goes for a minion, you Q him, you spin, by the time your silence is over, you should be already behind your minions again. So always fight in the minions, and don't let him like eat you under turret and stun you under turret or some bullshit. And you should be fine versus Tahm Kench. But he outscales you like crazy. There's nothing you can do. If you die once, he's gonna like maybe get Heartsteel, stack that shit up, then go some AP. He's gonna one-shot you. He's gonna, yeah, it's a mess if you fall behind versus Tahm Kench. Oi, oi, oi. And then Camille, the bane of Garen. Yikes. If you die once, then you lose. The reason why I don't have Camille up here, they win early and they win late, is because you can't go Grasp or Conquer, I like Grasp slightly more, to win early game. I'd actually argue that it's slightly Garen favored in lane, as long as no jungler or support or mid laner roams. As long as there's an isolated 1v1, Garen is not forced to die or forced to give much early. He can actually do very fine on his own. But as soon as you fall behind like 1 gold, I'm not even kidding, like you fall behind 1 little gold, you miss 1 minion, or you get ganked once or something happens. You're helping your jungler do grubs, and Camille crashes a wave, she gets a good base or something. As soon as that happens, she's gonna scale into a monster, and there's no way anyone can escape from Camille. Camille is like the strongest champion with gold, if that makes sense. So let's say Mordekaiser. Let's say this guy got 10,000 gold. He got a billion gold. He got 6 items. He's level 18. While you are, you're level 11. You got your Stridebreaker, Swiftness boots. This guy can still not kill you. You're just gonna walk around him. He's a snail. You walk around him, take the wave, you proxy this, do that. Mordekaiser can't do anything. But Camille, on the other hand, if she's ahead, she can like jump from across the map with her E, lock you down with W, and then ult you to like really lock you down. And if you still try to like face rush away or fight her or some bullshit, her Q is so fast, she gets it twice, she one-shots you with the Q, and you kinda can't win if you fall behind, and she gets like Trinity Force before you can like get your stuff going. So she snowballs like the hardest, I would say. And also she can lock you down big time. Also, I have a guide on her as well, so if you're interested in more about the Garen Camille matchup, it's slightly outdated, not really, but a lot of the things said in the guide are still very, very accurate, I'd say. So check that out if you want to know more about Camille. And then we have Urgot. Urgot is also a champion that if you die once, then you lose. He's kind of like Mordekaiser. He's a walking fortress. These two are kind of the same. They are so filled with stats, but they are slow as fuck. They can't move. No real mobility, like, oh, ooh. I don't know. They're super slow. Early game, level 1, his E is insanely strong. But if you do level W, you can just survive early game. You don't need to give anything. Just start W and you should be fine level 1. And then level 2 to 9 or 2 to 8, you should be winning if you have Conqueror. Let's say he flips you, then you just go E, W, and then you win that trade. He has no sustain, you have good sustain. He can't really kill you ever, unless you like get E flashed on and you don't time your W, or you just don't have your W. Then he can kill you early. But then after level 9 and he gets like Black Cleaver, or he gets his first items like Black Cleaver, Titanic Hydra, or whatever he builds nowadays with Tabis. Yikes, yeah, you're never killing him. He's insanely strong. He deals so much damage with Shojin maybe. He one-shots you while you can't ever deal damage to him. So if you accelerate that and like make him get to that state faster by dying early, so if you die once, then I'm sorry, then you're just gonna lose. Like Urgot is crazy strong once he gets his stuff. So if you fuck up your window from 2 to 8 to bully him, then his 9 to 18 is just gonna happen slightly earlier, or like it's not gonna be happening slightly earlier. I mean, it will. It will happen slightly earlier. He'll get his items sooner. You will just have less time for yourself to kill him. Your deadline will approach faster, and you're kind of fucked. And now for the final tier here. Yuumi here. Yuumi is Ambessa. This thing didn't have Ambessa. So I just put Yuumi here as a placeholder for Ambessa. I think Ambessa is annoying as fuck. A lot of people don't really struggle versus Ambessa, but if the Ambessa is a pro player, or if it's just a challenger Ambessa, it is super hard to deal with. I get that, slightly lower elo Ambessas will just use her W willy-nilly. They will just throw it out, do nothing with it. But if you're playing versus like the best or like really good Ambessas, they will sit on that W until you combo, and then your combo deals no damage. They will just heal all your damage up, plus shield it, of course, while they also deal insane amounts of damage to you. They also scale like crazy. So if you go even versus Ambessa, if she goes like the lethality build or something, she can kind of one-shot your entire team while you sit there and watch. You're like, okay, cool. Sorry, team. I can't do much. So yeah, I think Ambessa is just so insanely strong. She's annoying. Oh, Santa Claus. I'm not sure where to put Santa Claus. If they win early and late, or if it's in you die once, then you lose. The only way you can really get prio early is if you start E. Because if you start Q and he starts Q, you will both auto-Q each other. He has Grasp, he has his passive, so even though his Q is much shorter cooldown and should be weaker because of the shorter cooldown, it's not even weaker because he has Grasp, because he has his passive, and that deals the extra damage. Plus, on top of that, his Q is also an AoE spell, so it helps him push the wave. So he gets an even trade, HP-wise. He pushes the wave, and he heals from Grasp. Oh yeah, I guess those are kind of the same. And also he has a shorter cooldown on his Q. So early game, when you have both Q'd each other, then when you have 4 seconds left on your Q, he will have his Q back up already. And then he's gonna be able to walk up to you and force you out of lane. Because you don't want to take a free auto Q while you can't really trade back with auto Q because your thing is still on cooldown. So then you're forced to like just watch him attack the minions while you can't really attack the minions because he's zoning you. And then he gets prio early. And if he gets prio early, then, well, yeah, he kind of wins early because he can blast you. But the only way to like prevent that is if you start with E. Your E is slightly worse for the 1v1 in short trades. But if you go commit for the longer E, you E on top of him and most importantly, the wave. You can get level 2 first. And if you get level 2 first, then you can also get level 3 first. And then you can secure that at least the early game is going kind of decent. And even if you do go even, or like you do the E trick where you like start E and you kind of get the prio early, even if you do that, then you, let's say you're ahead in CS or whatever, once he gets his first reset and gets a chain vest, if he just does like E auto Q auto, that little short combo without even using W or anything, and you use your entire auto Q E and then like auto or some bullshit, if you do all of that, he's still gonna be stronger and deal more damage than you because his chain vest reduces so much of your damage. So Garen doesn't really deal damage to him, and he insanely quickly gets outscaled by K'Sante. So the only thing you can really do versus K'Sante after like the first part of the game or after the first base is you farm and you like proxy, you farm, you leave him to do whatever he wants to do, or you do something with your jungler. 1v1, it's really hard to do something. The only thing you can do 1v1 is attack his mana pool. His E and W, both of them cost like decent amount of mana. And if he takes 200 HP while you take like 400, you're gonna heal to basically the same. But he's gonna lose mana from it. So if you do that combo like over and over, he's slowly gonna run out of mana, and he's gonna be starting to think, oh shit, I can't use this here, I can't use my W here, because then I can't ult later. So then he's gonna be holding back on his resources. So then when he's holding back, then you can start getting some free trades on top, like onto him. But yeah, I think he scales like crazy. He's also a champion that really easily can build randomins, and randomins hard counters crit Garen. So yeah, you don't deal damage to this guy. He can build like the shield K'Sante, like you can't really deal damage to him. I think he's just kind of strong at the moment. I think Garen loses to him mid game, late game, everything, as long as Garen isn't like ahead early, which he kind of shouldn't be. So Jace, I was again thinking about where to put Jace, but I think he ends up here. They win early and late. Jace, it doesn't really matter if he goes Grasp, Conquer or Face Rush. I think Grasp and Conquer are both stronger forms, but even if he goes Face Rush, he just bullies the fuck out of you. Again, if he is worse at the game, his kiting is gonna be worse, and it's gonna be easier to punish him. But a lot of like higher elo players, they know how to kite, they know how to swap the forms, they don't really mess up too much. And it gets super hard to space, because you can never go on him. Like let's say you try to go in on him, he's just gonna swap to melee form, knock you back, and your Q didn't even go off. So he can always trade for free onto you, you can never trade back onto him, and he also deals more damage than you. So even if you were able to trade onto him, he would just deal more damage. So it's a nightmare of a matchup. I hate Jace. I feel like he's so annoying when they know how to play him. It was easier like half a year ago before they made the E change. But now with the E change, like locking you in place and knocking you back, not letting your Q go through, like now it's really hard to play versus. And now Vayne. A lot of people hate Vayne top. Like Vayne top is a goddamn meme. Everyone's like, oh, range top, then they refer to this stinky champion. Yeah, everyone hates Vayne top. She's insanely strong. Can kite you like a demon. She can go flash ghost. She's zooming 500 miles an hour. She has her W, she has Q, she has E, stealth, she has kind of everything. I don't think I need to say anything about Vayne. I think everyone knows Vayne is just insane into like top lane booster tanks. Like, the reason why Vayne isn't picked more is because it kind of fucks up your team comp. It doesn't fuck it up that much, but having range top prevents you from having a bruiser slash frontline in the top lane, which will make team fighting slightly wonky. It will make it like slightly worse, so it's not as common as it could be, which I'm fine with. Like, I don't want Vayne to be more popular, but yeah, she's insanely strong. A lot of people hate her for a reason. And now finally, for the last pick of the tier list, I think Varus is... I hate him. What do you want me to say? I hate him. He has max HP damage on his W. He has... like, his spells can reset. He can lock you down. He gets free W passive stacks on his ult. He can, like, proc max HP damage, like, multiple times. He can... I don't know, even if... Okay, let's say you're full HP with Stridebreaker. He's full HP building Locket or some shit. I don't know, I haven't seen him in, like, a half a year or something. But when I saw him, goddamn, he's a monster. If he builds Locket, you go on him, your combo puts him to maybe 60% of HP, 70. His combo, while building full tank, 0 damage, he gets you 100 to 0, even when you use W. I think maybe it's not that anymore, but when I faced him, like half a year ago, it was insanely, absurdly broken. And there was basically nothing you could do versus Varus. Thankfully, again, same with Vayne. It's not really played that much. But I think that's it. That's the tier list done. I don't know if I missed any champion. I know Cabex want me to rate Fiddlesticks. I'm not gonna do it. I did it some other time. Yeah, I think obviously Garen. Don't want to mess with him. He's obviously gonna win early and late. He's the demon himself. But yeah, there's the tier list. A lot of yapping from me.